check. Lurk at work is in the AO. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Glad you can join us today for another round of Motorsport Manager. The season is 2028, right? Dang, I kind of forgot the date. Yeah, it's 2028 season. We're midway through the season. Just probably six or seven races in total, I think. Okay, it's race 7, so yeah, it's just 6 races left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 races to go in the season. And we've had a bit of a seesaw season so far. Both of our drivers doing very well, despite the fact that we did have some mishaps in the previous run, with Jurovic being given the wrong tires during the bad weather conditions of the Ardennes run, and Perez scoring a pole from that one at least. Well, in the next season we didn't even get to go into the top 6, which is a bit of a bad shot. Now, at the end of last race, we managed to complete the weather forecasting center, which gives us a bit of improvement in forecasting how the weather will roll for the rest of the race. Now, it's only level 1, which means we get a boost of a third of the way of the map, or rather the weather tag. So that should be helpful in keeping us up to date about whether or not we're going to need to change anything about the tire tactics we use, especially since we usually try to do as little or as few pit stops as possible to try to keep abreast with the rest of the other teams who have better pit crews than we do right now. Currently have a decent balance, 12 million, but it did drop after we sent up the staff center for an upgrade, which is due in probably 4 months. Should be enough time to at least catch up to the last part of the season and get some boosts to our staff in. Our performance is still god-awful. We're currently 7th best on the grid, which isn't exactly nice. That's mostly because we don't have a lot of parts development buildings currently in service, so we gotta work on that later. Current standings: Perez and Jurovic have switched places after Jurovic suffered from the Ardennes wet work, and now she's 3rd. Perez is up to 2nd, but unfortunately they got leapfrogged by Gansler, who's currently at 1st with 2 wins and 31 points. Team-wise, though, we're still on top, but it's now just a 7-point lead over Firebird MRT, who is our top rival this season, really. Now, the real issue here is whether or not we'll be able to keep them away for 6 more races, really. That's the main issue, since it's gonna be rainy, and we've already got our parts trailing, so I'm not too confident about all this. I'm not building any more parts this season, since we've already got our illegal parts ready to go for next one. But the main issue now is whether or not that should be enough. Remember, our target is 3rd or better. They don't want us to go for lower. So we will try as much as possible to stay above 3rd, but I'm not very confident we can do that. Hang on. Okay, here's the report for the upcoming race. It's gonna be 23 laps. That's a good thing. 20% chance of rain usually is gonna flip up. High speed, which means better engines. Unfortunately, Vixala has overtaken us in that department. Now, I think they're going to continue doing that for the rest of the season now that we've started developing our engines. We're going to be using super soft and soft tires, which means durability isn't going to be a good thing. So as much as possible, we'll try to keep it mid-pack for one lap. There's also a good chance that the rain might be helpful for us here, but I'm not really counting on it. I'd love to upgrade the test track right now, really, but not a lot of income. And our sponsorship level is still pretty low, mostly because Judovish is very bad at PR. We still have British Tires and Conan Telecoms for 2 races, which would be nice. Oh, Ramsey is finally getting sick and tired of driving for Dragon Race Team. He's been having a bad set of races over the past 2 years, I think. Okay, let's see. Looks like Firebird is tipped to win this. Gander still has a lot of firepower in him. Meanwhile, Mazzoncini is laying it a little thick. And Dragon Race Team is once again at the back. By the way, this might be a short stream again. I still have something to do, so I might tag out early. So there's a good chance this could be the only race we'll be doing today. So just to be on the safe side, letting you know in advance. Oh, now we're in race day. Didn't even notice that. Gonna have to save that again. So anything can be income provider with whichever we want to, but Cupcake has the highest offer of 1.5 million. I think I'm gonna go with Cupcake for now, even though we're definitely gonna get 192 back at least, but still. Better than nothing. Remember, it's engines, suspension, and rear wings that we need to focus on for fixing. No, I'm worried about the weather. It did say 20% chance of rain, but most often than not, that's a reversal. What the hell am I talking about? Hang on a second. Ow, 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 my leg. Okay, so we're sticking this up, so we're gonna have to focus on. Yep. Good thing it's soft. Now we're hoping that Perez doesn't kill the engine too early. Also, we need to remember, She is, Perez is almost ready to tap out of of the entire racing career. She's been stuck with us for quite a while, and she is already peaked. The main issue is that she might be going down since she's already in the 30s and some such. Oh, cripes, would I change that? Stints, keep that. Okay, here's hoping we don't suffer that much out here. Especially since we're just gonna be using soft, so it's gonna be endurance over speed, as is the usual. That'll keep us as far away from the pit crew as possible. Although we have to worry about Perez being too much of a pusher with her tires these days, which is a main cause of concern for us. Doesn't seem like they got any complaints right now. Oh, hang on, something's... Am I getting something weird about that? Need to double check my stream path. Doesn't look like it, at least. Leonet's showing some good sectors so far, but I think Carlson is once again proving why Vexal Motorsports engines are better than us right now. The question is, will that convert into another win? Because she was the winner of last race, of the previous race. Good stoppage, then switching out to some really fast tires afterwards. I'm really worried that that could cause some serious disruption in our plans to stay up about control. Handling feels too soft. They say that, but when you try to make it harder, they're going to complain that the handling was worse, or the handling they got now is worse, which is kind of annoying. I'm gonna bring out Leonet now. Well, we let Drudovic stay on the road for at least the full lineup there. Carlson once again, best in lap, getting ahead of Firebirds Elegard. Gansler, surprisingly, is only 10th. Not exactly converting his skills to good speeds, despite the fact that even if he's using softs, he should be doing some pretty good lap numbers right now. Kind of weird. Chew right there in the bottom. That's not a good thing for the thigh driver. There goes our knowledge for both tires and setup. Going up to level 2. Handling needs a little more adjustment. But hang on a second, just hang on. So, I probably want it to be a bit faster. Arrows might be a little bit higher. Let's see if it changes anything for the good part. Now Drudovic is up on 3rd, Leonet is down to 5th. Carlson definitely dominating the field right now. 1 minute 15.51 seconds is the time to beat on the sheets. The question is, Lormor and Picherny having trouble breaking out of the top 5, really, which is kind of weird. Picherny would usually be top 3 around this time now, especially since it's halfway through practice. Jurvish didn't get enough out of that, and she's only 1 minute 6. Let's see if Ariolenet is gonna get anything better out of this. Alright, let's see if Ariolenet will improve her chances right here now. Not too confident. I'm really not in the mood to switch to softs down force field in the middle. No. I'm really not too confident in switching over from regular, switching from the dry runs to... Hang on. Hang on. Well, we've got our active knowledge at level 3 for both the race trim and the tires, but I don't know if that's going to do very well for us so far, especially with Carlson still on top. We can probably work against the Firebird team, but Bexala and their engine boosting is getting really out of hand. Oh, I kind of forgot to switch Judovish out. 3.5 minutes left. The handling could use some work. So do I want to make the handling a bit softer? I guess. That should be good enough. And this is kind of hard when you don't have more than one monitor. Because I'm currently doing some checks on something else, and I can't really do that efficiently with just a single monitor to work with. Still says it's good over that. Top speed definitely needs some work. Handling could probably use a bit more. It's a bit risky doing this like this. 25 seconds to fix this. We've only got 3 and 28. Fine. Alright, Drudovish, let's see if you got the better part of the deal with this one. See, the real problem here is that we're still halfway through the circuit, and since we don't have an upgrade to the test track, we can't really go to epic engines even if we wanted to. And our team lead designer isn't exactly super built for that. She's a bit more balanced. Well, her stats aren't exactly high. Wait, what? What's that? And I don't think we can improve her even further as she is now. So there's a good chance that if we get lucky, we'll find a new designer that will have better output for engines. Although, since we're planning to build up for the Asia Pacific Super Cup in the next season, I'm definitely going to need a much more well-rounded designer. Lynette on her flying lap doesn't look like she has changed much, at least. The arrow feels much nicer. That's good. That's good. 40 seconds. I don't think we'll have enough time to get her out of here. Downforce is great. Handling is awful. So we probably need a bit more. Yeah, a bit more understeer. If we need to change, we'll just go back to the first setup. Hopefully that should be enough to keep us afloat for this one. We'll just have to remember when to use the pit stop lane. Because it's 23 laps, and the weather is still a factor because of the 20% rain chance. So unless we know when to pit, whether to pit early or pit late, we will have a hard time getting ahead there. Okay, Adelina seems to be fine with her current setup, but she's still at 7th. Not exactly a good look. Drudovish, meanwhile, is stuck in 3rd. And I'm not too sure the setup we did for her before the end of practice would be good enough. So there's a good chance we'll return to the very first setup, which unfortunately has bad handling. Okay then. That's quite the change. Unfortunately, because of that, Drudovish drops to 5th, and Sean Leonet goes down to 8th. Oof, Ramsey getting some stones thrown at him in the socials. But Jenny seems to be going okay. Chu, on the other hand, is definitely crying out. Yep, unfortunately, we need to worry about this. It's first or nothing, because we won't get a lot if we fail to hit it first. What the heck? Ugh, that was some awful, awful handling. Hang on a second. Give me a bleak second. This one needs to be looked into. Sorry about that. Just had to look at something pretty important. Now, I need to worry about the fact that our arrows are awful. So is their speed. If I want to switch out, I need to be a bit lower maybe. But I think we're good with this for now. Though hang on. Sorry about that. Anyway, where were we? Switching this off. 13 laps. 19 laps of fuel, but 13 laps of tires. Not exactly my kind of thing. 15 laps of tires. Do we want to push the engine mode? Because Perez isn't exactly up there with fuel. The tires will definitely stay in neutral. But the engine... Fine, let's go and push it. Keep forgetting we have the ERS here. Just gonna use it after we hit the start-end line at the end of lap 1, and then we'll... Whoa! Who the heck ran wide? Hornblatt ran real wide out there. What the heck happened? Well, that's enough of a workout to let Dervish and Perez go up at least a place each. Funker is still on top, and Chu is right behind him now. The question is, can we keep our tires up for long? How's the weather looking? There we go. Okay, we could probably switch out around lap 6, or end of it. Thanks to the weather team, we can now determine that it's going to be raining very hard. So we'll probably have to switch out around lap 6 or lap 7, switch it to wets. And then if it keeps raining after that, we'll switch, we'll just go and drive up a bit. Oh, cripes, I forgot about the ERS. Ooh, good use of the momentum from the ERS push there. Drudovic snatching 15th, or 16th rather, to get between, by getting between Cardenas and Elegard. Perez, unfortunately, is stuck in the back there. Couldn't take advantage of her momentum. Well, she was in a bit of a space bit here. And now Drudovic is fighting to stay in 16th, as Elegard is looking to get back into her old spot. So we're going to switch to wet probably around lap 8, if things go like that. Yeah, definitely going to have to switch to wets. The weather condition is going to be awful, as according to the forecasting center, at least for the middle part of the race. So we got to be prepared for that. Elegard has been taken over Drudovic again, though I don't think that's going to last. Yep, Elegard goes back up to 16th. Drudovic now down to 17th. Cardenas at 18th. Up front, Carlson has jumped up to 2nd. Excellent push from the other Swede. Yes, she's currently in 2nd, but she's a 2nd behind Lormore, though, which is a bit of a problem for her. We're still in the back, which is kind of annoying. We should have been in the mid-pack by now. Still a bit of a procession here. 20 laps to go, and our drivers are still in the back. Up on top, Bjorn has jumped up to third, but he's 2 seconds behind Lormore. Hey, cripes. That's Hornby with the ERS push, getting some momentum before the chicane, but not enough to close the gap significantly. There's still a bit of a car, like 3 car lengths between him and Perez. Judovic still fighting to get out of the lower 15th. Perez almost got the inside there. Oh, she did. No. $19 laps to go, and that's Elegard almost on. Whoop. And Perez gets overtaken by a ERS on that one. They're really pushing the ERS drive with this one. And there's the rain. Lap 5, right on schedule. Now we're waiting until it starts to get really wet, then we'll switch over to wet tires. Though I think we're just going to be needing a late switch out after this. I don't know if I'm going to need a change to just a splash and go towards the end of the race, but we're definitely switching out to wets around lap 8 maybe. Everybody else is starting to get into the inters now, but that gives Judovic and Perez enough time to switch over to get some jumps in places at least. A lot of people up front still in good position. Ooh, Funker and Chu went down pretty hard. Their tires have also gone really badly. Both of our drivers still not using a lot of VRs. Hang on! Give it a bit of time. We're not switching to inters. We're going for wet, so I'm going to need you to stay in the road for a bit longer. There's Perez and Judovic using their ERS to get some speed in. A bit risky, especially with the weather, but it's better than nothing. Gonna need to push the tires a bit. Since we're gonna be switching them out anyway. Oh, Judovic jumping up to 11th after that one. Perez stuck behind Concliffe. As I expected, a lot of the other drivers are still rolling. So we're definitely going to wait until we can switch to wets, and then we'll roll. Lap 9, maybe? Carlson's still driving by the looks of it. Lormore is too. Yep, Carlson is still going to go, although she's got her engines down now. She's the only one currently in, no, there's 2 of them. Gansler is also in low energy mode. But Judovic is now broken off of the lower end and is in literally the top 10. As we enter lap 8, things are getting really wet by now. So I should probably think about getting some switches out. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of other pit lane crews here. Judovic now in 7th, Perez in 10th. Carlson still driving with softs. Most of the top 6 still stuck on slicks, rather. Still no sign of anybody changing out. So that's something. Perez stuck behind Concliffe and Howe, unfortunately. While Judovic is having trouble getting past Elegard. We might see some changes in a couple. Yeah, Bjorn is now looking for a switch up. We should give... there they are. We should get Perez in first. Switch her to wets. And now the fuel should be good. The pit strategy... Do we risk it? We can try and risk it, see how it goes. But the mistake chance is high. Just to be on a safe side, we should stick to standard. Switch into wets. Fuel, not. Don't change the fuel yet. We still have a downward leg up there, so I think we can switch up from that point. Pit strategy should be balanced. 4 seconds should be enough. Well, Junovish will stay here for another lap, and then we'll have her pit in. It looks like Lormore is also driving on some really dry, wet, or really dry soft tires. Probably. Alright, 12 seconds. Pit strategy. No, you have too high a risk. Let's stick to our current setup. Perez went out on a good run, but she's at 12. Ganser also wisely switching to wets, as well as Ramsey. And we got who else? That's Concliffe as well. Eligard also switched to wets. Looks like everybody else knows that it's going to be really wet out here. Jorovic is still having trouble getting past Lormore. Was at 13 seconds ahead. Perez went down to 12 out of that, but she's still driving. I think she should have enough power to move ahead, since the wetness is going to be a little too much for the inter drivers. Almost approaching the last corner, and that's Judovic coming in for pits. We're also giving her extra fuel so that she will only need to switch out tires later if we have to. And that's within the setup, but we're only 9th in pit ranking. Now she's down to 14th, maybe 15th, yep. And a 15th blocking Beyond, keeping Beyond away from the top 15. Perez is still in 12th and not doing too hot. Might have to put her in neutrals at this point. Ah, that's an ERS overtake from Glidden. Good push towards the end. They're getting a lot of momentum out on the exit exit of the corner, going through the airport or the passenger lounge. Chicane there. Switching up through the hairpin right near the church. 13 laps to go, and Etienne is on top. Carlson is still in the top lining up there. Second, to be exact. Want to conserve the tires at least. Perez drops down to 15th as somebody else has overtaken her position. Now Judovic is also stuck in the back. Bit of a gap here, unfortunately. Let's speed things up a bit so we can see how far we can go. I don't know why our drivers aren't using their ERS much here. 12 laps to go. Still no sign of anybody changing out. There's Perez with the ERS push finally. And she is jumping up places, mostly. Stuck behind Beyond, though. Wait, what? Hang on a second. I'm not feeling confident about this. We have not been able to use the speed advantage, even with the wet roads, especially since Perez has a wet weather expert, but she's not going at it that much. It's already lap 12, approaching lap 13, in fact, and we haven't seen her push herself to full potential. I guess with the current form really bad like this, I think she really can't drive that much. Switch it up to neutrals now that it's a bit colder. Okay, we'll probably stick to the wet tires until the end of the race at this point. So those guys with Inter seem to have done much better than I expected. Gansler is still on top, though. There's a good chance they'll be switching out soon. The question is, can we keep our tires until then? Perez might be switching out because I did not give her enough fuel for this operation. Might have to restart this at this rate. Judovic using her ERS to get past Picherny. Also getting past Glidden in the process. Now it's 10 laps to go. Both of our drivers back in that lower half again. Judovic getting a climb up on that. About to hit the peak of wetness as the rain has kindly kind of weakened now. I'm expecting some of these guys to start switching out soon. Gansler jumping up extensively, and he's now 6th. But can he keep it towards the end of the race? Oof, good overtake from Perez there. Getting out 3 drivers in the process. Make that 4. Getting past Mazzoncini as well. She's now in 8th. We really need to work our way up because Firebird can still deal something for us. And Gansler already in top 6. Start of lap 9. Judovic up to 12th, Perez almost up to 7th, but Lormore got in the way. Okay, that's not good. They're starting to get really cold. Judovic now up to 11th. Perez still having trouble getting past Lormore. Judovic jumped out to 10th after overtaking Cardenas. Now she's 9th. She's really pushing it. There's Perez overtaking Lormore, who is getting blocked by Chu there, giving Perez a chance to jump up to 6th. Excellent driving from the Frenchie, and her driving form has risen up a bit. We've got 8 laps still. We might have to get Perez in the pit lane now. And give her a fuel line. Do I want to go for Inter? Let's go for pit and go for fast. Gonna risk it. 10 seconds. Judovic will have to work her way through with just these cars. Hopefully her tires can last until the end of the race. Perez will have to contend with losing her current 6th place spot. I'm starting to see some changes up front though. Could be seeing some pit changes as well. I don't know if I want to put Judovic in for an interchange really. Because if we do this right, we can put Judovic up on front, keep her in front using her ERS, and then probably get her in a podium. We only have 7 laps to go, but we're probably going to see some changes in pit lane runs. Definitely going to go for... I really wish we can get a larger pit crew, though, even though it's going to eat into our profits. A larger pit crew means more people working, and definitely need that. Okay, do we want to go for intermediates? I'm not too sure I want to do that, to be honest. That's the Silva Mello going for a switch out. Gansler definitely might need something else. 6 laps to go. We still got a decent amount of fuel, but the tires are starting to be an issue, and the weather isn't exactly working in our favor here. Perez, where are you? Perez jumps up to 14th, but that's not enough to get her in points. That's Devorani Neto, rather. Hang on. Judovic is just 3 seconds behind Gansler, who's now down to 38% on the tires. You might have to push this a bit more. Judovic definitely needs some boost up with the tires. I'm starting to see some speed boost on the back as the weather is starting to get dry. 5 laps to go. Gansler still in 4th. Devorani Neto stuck in 3rd. And now that Judovic jumping up to 4th as well. The weather is gonna be a bit of a problem now, as the tire, or rather the road water is now really low. Halfway through, Gansler might be pushing up or sticking up with this. Carlson might drop in a couple, but she could still have enough tires for a couple more runs. Judovic pushing up with the ERS, trying to get past Gansler, but not really doing it that much. Perez still in 12th. Gansler doing his level best to keep up. Oh, now Judovic gets overtaken by Bian. Bian using his inters to his advantage. Or her inters to her advantage. Now, can we keep everything rolling here? We've only got 4 laps. Judovic needs to hold on for dear life. I don't think we're gonna make it to the sponsor objective at this rate. Might have to restart this. Yeah, we definitely have to restart this. Gonna have to restart. The problem is we couldn't really get the most out of our cars out of that because of the changes. We did make some good pace by switching late to wets, but the problem is once we started losing speed. I guess we really have to change tires, but we also have to give them enough fuel to finish the race, so it's going to be just a switch tire situation towards the second pit stop. Still going for Cupcake. I know it's a bit of a risk factor to aim for first. Now we got to get our balance back with the configuration. Judovic was doing really well. We just didn't manage to give her the most out of it because of the weather. Choices should be soft. Let's hope it keeps the same setup for the weather later. So we can just go for 2 stops. 1 stop with fuel, 1 stop without, of course. So it's going to be a full stop of fuel for that one. Main concern is whether or not we can actually take advantage of that, because, as you might remember, our pit crew is the worst on the grid. Unless we can get a decent pit crew going, I would be less hesitant to get out of the 1 pit stop mindset. And there's also the ERS to consider. Downforce fields, hang on. Good arrow so far. It looks like, I don't know, Carlson's gonna snatch best lap after this one, I can tell. Yeah, I'm seeing some purples on her now. Handling feels awesome. That's good. Ooh. Bit of a drop there, surprisingly. And there's Beyond out of nowhere, snatching first. With a 3-second gap, 3/10 of a second gap between her and Jodovic. There's Gansler snatching second now. Definitely need some more work with this. Everything seems to be okay. Right. Carlson on top once again, getting some pretty good numbers out of that too. Both of our drivers now stuck in the lower end of the top 5. Not getting better in the numbers. I think I'll bring him in now. So a 5 minutes 45 second left in practice, and they're pretty much gonna end after this stint anyway, so might as well bring him in early. Ugh, handling's awful. So what do we want? Same tires. Weather, it doesn't seem to be changing much through practice, so that's good. Okay, downforce needs a bit more work on Judovic's side of things. That should be enough fixing for now. Let's see if it actually does good work for both of the drivers. 5 minutes, 10 seconds left in practice. Should be enough to at least get 2 stints in, right? Unless they start complaining, in which case I'm gonna bring them in again. Gansler getting some good times in by the looks of it. On his in-lap, no less. Carlson domineering the performance so far because of the better engines that Vexala have picked up is a bit of a concern. Though we do have to remember we're not going to be using any batteries for next season, which could help us save a bit and probably give us some more chances to get some overtakes without having to be pushed out right off the first lap. Jodovic has some good arrows. Looks like we have better handling on our rear lane side of things now. Oh, Carlson and Gansler again. Beyond, not too sure if that's going to be a bit more competitive. But she is very dangerous towards the end, so we will have to keep an eye out on her as well. She is, after all, another Vexala driver, so... Elegard with the top 4 push. Not much of a change from Judovic or Ariolenet in the sheets there. Very concerning. Handling is feeling superb here. Nice work. That's not telling me much. I wish they'd have more variations with their feedback so you can get a better feel at what they really think about the current setup, so you can actually work it a bit more. Like they'd like I'd really love it if they had lines like saying the arrow's a bit okay, or it's so-so, or something like that, like a middle of the pack thing. And you know that you might have to push it a bit further instead of just going forward. Or maybe what I want is feedback that's a bit more specific, because even when they say the handling feels just right here, like they're thinking, like they're going for a Goldilocks type feedback, like that. Sometimes even if they say that, the return for the mechanics just shows yellows. So if they had feedback that actually says something much more specific about what they really needed, then it'll be a bit easier setting up their cars to the way they want it to be. Couldn't get it to great, but it's better than nothing at this point. Hopefully we did get some good setups for that one. For that last set of stints. Not enough to keep us in the top 5, unfortunately. But it's better than nothing at this point. Carlson and beyond, the drivers to watch out right now. Etienne scoring in top 5 win there and definitely throwing us out of the top 5. Teammate versus teammate again. Glidden was really struggling. Can't imagine to be looking forward to the grid this weekend. What we get? I'm not looking forward to seeing the car setup right now. Okay, manageable. Fairly manageable, really. Wait, what? Oh, is that quick already? I mean, we could probably switch over to Supersofts too. So how do we work with this? I'm not too sure. I mean, we can probably push the engine modes up again. Or we can keep it neutral for everything, and then we'll just push the driving styles a bit. Keep the driving style in neutral, and then we'll push it. Or keep it in push for both of them. I think we'll if the weather is going to be permitting, yeah, we can probably last until 8. So maybe just keep it in neutral for Perez, but keep it in push for Judovic. And then we'll switch up at the usual time, 8 and 9, or probably 9 and 10. Lights out and away we go. Ooh, Perez with an early push out there, going up to 18. Just getting blocked, and now they switched again. Ramsey ran wide again. Getting loaned up over there, and he's having trouble getting back into the speed of things. Speaking of speed, Gansler now climbing up to 18th, maybe going into 17th as Perez drops out of that competition. Carlson in 17th will be climbing up much faster now, I can feel it. Bit of a risk factor here, especially since Carlson's tires aren't exactly up there. Not much that, that's not much of a concern, really, especially since we're still going to switch out around lap 9 or lap 10 anyway, so... that's Ramsey with the ERS push. Now both of our drivers are in the back again. Same as always. Neutral it down a bit. go for auto. Oh! Who crashed? Etienne crashed on Sector 2! Right next to the airport, what do you call it? Right next to the airport concourse. The concourse chicane at this point. Not a good run for, Ozu there. Definitely gonna lose some serious points. Yeah, they're now looking at a lower half finish this season, surprisingly, for one of the top competitors in the ERS. Let's see how this goes for Perez, who's stuck behind Cardenas at the start of lap 3. Jurvish, meanwhile, trying to get in close as well, but keeping a bit of distance between her and her teammate. Complaining about her teammate being ahead of her for 2 laps now. Not exactly a good sign there, but it's just mad libs at this point. Oof, going for the inside overtake and getting that, but failing to keep it through the chicane and the next end of hairpins. Once again, Perez is 18th, Jurvish is 19th. A lot of the guys on super softs about to eat it, going down to 50% at this point. 20 laps to go. Still stuck in the back here, but I'm starting to see some really bad tire wear over on the front end. Devorani Neto almost out of 50% here, and Chu as well, but they're not really pushing their tires that much. Surprising development for Devorani Neto here, as ZRT's cars really aren't that bad with their tires, so there is something that must have gone wrong in, this, in the past season or so. Oof, Jurvish going for a push-up, so is Perez. A bit of a risky investment with that, especially since the opening corner, or the opening chicane, is a bit tight. And a little too much acceleration there might have thrown him off the course. Now we're seeing the rain. Pretty much the same, at least. So we'll probably stay in here for a bit longer. I'm gonna be seeing some changes in places soon. I feel like somebody will go for pit changes so they can get some inters. We're gonna stick until we can switch to wets. And then we are going to pit lane time. We're going for pit lane time, rather. There's Picerni going for a switch out to inters. Staying in wets also keeps us away from... ooh, Ellegard has crashed. Ellegard has crashed. Where's Ellegard? What happened? Ooh, that's a much more nasty crash. I don't... No. Ignore. Do we want to pit for inters? I don't want to pit yet. Fine, let's go. Pit for inters first, and then we'll go to... No. Hang on, we can still drive this. Lormor is also switching out. Mazzoncini not watch. Devorani Neto definitely. Funker also. Gansler switching. Fine, let's go for inters and... 5 extra fuel. Do I want to go for fast? No, let's go for balanced. We will lose some spots here, I'm afraid. We'll switch to inters. We'll switch to wets around lap 12. And then towards the end, we'll switch to dry tires again. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Keep it in balance. Excuse me. As much as I'd like to stay in the road for longer so we can go for wets, I feel like everybody else is already switching out. Wait, hang on. Maybe not. Everybody else on soft seems to be sticking it, so I think... Shush! We're trying to do a strategy here. Stop complaining. Not everybody is going for a pit change, as you can clearly see here. So we're sitting up with a dry run as well. Though Archer is technically in the back still with 6 points to their name. Garuda, surprisingly, is still only at 1 point. Let everybody else stay up front. And then we'll let everybody else up front pit up. And then we'll wait until we can switch over to wets. Stop complaining about the tire temperature. Why is there a big gap between Howe and Cardenas anyway? Clearly see everybody else has gone for inters. But if we stay for a bit longer, we're definitely going to be able to switch out to wets, and then we'll be able to drive a bit better. Wets in a fuel change, and then afterwards we'll switch out to inters towards the end of the race. There we go. Now that is a convoy. 1 lap left with the safety car. After this, another one. Which means we'll probably switch around end of lap 8, or go for lap 9. It depends on how these guys are going to go. Mazzoncini and Hornblatt still driving. Carlson also driving. I'll probably keep an eye on Carlson. When she switches, that's when we go for it as well. Carlson and Bian, rather. Bian is at 6, but she's already in inters. Quick switch there. 16 laps to go, start at lap 8. If Carlson is still driving after the safety car goes to the garage, we'll also stay on the road until at least she goes in. Then we'll follow her in to the pit stop, and then we'll switch to wets. Rain's about to get a little stronger around the next 2 laps, though. Keep an eye on that. But at least that's going to be weakening the Firebird MRT chances of getting close to us in this leg of the series, because Elegard is also starting to be a real threat on the road for our drivers, and that's going to be a real problem. So trying to stay in place with that. Come on, come on, come on. This has got to work. Road conditions are now considered wet, which should give Perez a bit of a boost because of her wet weather expert driving capabilities. Judovic, meanwhile, has to worry about it because she's not as well trained in the wets for this as Perez. Yep. Safety car is now speeding up, looking to get home as soon as possible. will switch out as soon as he enters the pit lane. Okay, he's in the pit lane now, just about ready to go to his garage, and then... Oh, they all went for ERS, that's expected. High and high, high and push, high and push. Oh, they all went for a pit crew change. Dang it. Fine. Is that every member of the team going in? Are they stacking up? Yeah, it's a stack up by the looks of it. Yeah, Garuda. I think Glidden is also pitting, so we're gonna be doing a stack up. Going for wets. Fuel. Should be enough. Pit strategy balanced. And Perez will also switch to wets. Balanced. Let's double check that we got Drodovish on wets. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Parts condition okay. Bit of a stack up front here. Everybody else up on the back is already driving. If I hear complaints about stack ups because of this, I'm gonna be real pissed at both of these drivers. Anywho, that's both of them in the wets now. Let's see if it works. Everybody else is on inters, which could be helpful, but... weather's still pretty decent, thankfully. I don't know if that's going to be convincing to deal with. Ooh, 14 laps to go. Mazzoncini now 4 seconds ahead of Perez, though. I don't know if sticking to inters would be good here, since it looks like it's going to be soaked for a bit. It's Ramsey, Glidden with Garuda. Still in the back here, everybody else is on inters. It's not gonna be wet, or rather, it's not gonna be soaked until later. Maybe switching to wets was a bad idea, and maybe we should have just stuck to inters here instead. Perez almost getting past Mazzoncini, but not quite. Ooh, inside overtake. Spoiled by Mazzoncini using an ERS push. Drodovish now down to 16. Getting even wetter. Definitely should have stuck to inters. Wow, that's a hell of a gap. Just pushing us a bit more on speed. We are now 11 laps to go. Perez still stuck in 14. Drodovish finally gets past Howe. And everybody else on the interline still seem to be doing okay. We might be able to make some rounds here before everything starts getting really wet. Or drying up, rather. 10 laps to go. Perez using her wet tires to get past Concliffe. Drodovish might be getting her chances here as well. Perez now up to 11. about to hit peak wetness here, but looks like going for wets was a bad idea. We should have stuck to inters, it looks like. Approaching the last 9 laps of riding, and everybody else in the inter side of things are still pretty dry. Yeah, it's about to go downhill from here. We might have to switch up around lap 17. Perez still having trouble getting past Cardenas on the roads, despite the fact that the weather is more to her running, and her weather pro ability should be giving her a bit of a push here, but it looks like it's not really doing much. Still getting the overtake, but it's not exactly high up there. Okay, let's switch Perez out around the end of lap 17. Switch her to inters. That's beyond doing. If we still fail to do much, we'll definitely have to switch. We'll definitely have to restart this again. Yep, starting to see some changes here. Switching to inters. Do I want to get some more fuel up? No, I think she's okay. Risk it with a fast run, see how that comes in. Judovic will have to stay in for one more lap. No signs of changes from the the front runner units yet. I'm expecting them to do a bit of a late push though, so how's Perez still up there? Beyond using your ERS to get ahead of Gansler. Do I want to risk it? Okay, let's risk it. Alright, that's good. That's good. We can risk a stack up. No errors on that one either. Although we will have to push up a bit here. Because I feel like we need to work our way up again, and there's a lot of space up here for that. 5 laps to go, and I'm starting to see some changes up front. Or not yet, they're all going for ERS so they can get some gaps before pitting in. 4 laps to go, Perez jumps up to 10th. Judovic stuck in the back, Gansler still on top, Lormore and Carlson also pushing it. We definitely need to work our way up. Judovic might need a bit more pushing. Okay, push our drivers a bit more on both sides. We definitely need to get closer so that we can at least get into the top 6. I don't think we're going to get our sponsor objective, unfortunately. 3 more laps to go. Come on, Judovic. Judovic definitely. Dang it, Perez is stuck behind Funker again. It's only 2 laps. I don't think we can get into the top 6. And the rest of the guys are rolling. I think I want to do another restart on this. I am not in the mood for this comedy, really. They're gonna stick until the end there. Heck no. Well, I did say we might be only doing one race, but this is ridiculous. So we're just going for inters because it looks like sticking to wets is just gonna eat us up. It is only one small segment of the race that's gonna be full soak, so sticking to inters might give us a bit more of a boost. So stick to first. Parts should be okay. Let's go into the race again. It's not exactly a good start, a good run back to streaming after a break. I feel like I started on the wrong foot here. But at least we're learning something. Hopefully this would help us stay afloat. The weather team is actually doing us a huge favor by giving us very good advance warning, even though it's very limited right now because it's only level 1. I just need to balance it out with better car setups. The starting boxes are just too wide. If I can narrow that a bit more, we have a better chance of actually getting the work done. Okay, for Lynette should be... Oh, I forgot to switch tires. Right. That should be it. Let's go take practice again. Third time's a charm is what they usually say, but I don't think that's gonna count here. Now what I need to know is if I have to blow up somebody's engine just to get past the mid-packers. Push us up to fastest. Oh, let's stick at ×4. Much better that way. There's a church. There's the cargo bay. Carlson's gonna be pushing up there, I feel. Okay, too high on Drudovic this time. Bit of a jump up there. Let's see if we can get Drudovic better layout. With better arrows later. Too much roll. No, they both have problems. Let's get in the pit lane now before things get a bit out of hand. Beyond now scoring top lights here, putting Carlson in third. That's probably because she's also using super softs. Handling needs a bit more work. Let's hope this one works. Oh, downforce needs too much. It's far too high, he says so. This had better work. Alright, let's lane that on our out lap now. Let's see if we get anything here. Wait, what? Wait. Elegard getting personal best here. Figured something was wrong with the rear lane I'd set up again. Oh, the handling is very poor. Probably needs to make it a bit harder then. Okay. Oh no, a balance between soft and hard. Should be okay, maybe? Or do we need it to be a bit softer? That can't be right. We go for this one. Judovic still seems to be okay, but she's stuck in 8th. Getting some greens on Judovic again, which means she's starting to learn her parts of. Adeolena starting her new set of laps out here. Hopefully she'll get something better. Setup knowledge is going great for Adeolena so far. Unfortunately, that's not really reflecting much. Ugh. Damn it, I missed the chance to switch out her speed balance first. She, she didn't react on it the first time, which is really bad for me. Practice is ending. Lagarde now on top. Let's remember that Judovish needs her speed up to be a bit there. Yeah, really bad performance for us today in practice. Stop tires. Wait! If the weather is like this, we could probably just have gone for super softs, and then we can just use everything. But what the heck happened? So what I need to know is whether or not we need to get some more understeer, because it looks like it's still poor. I guess a bit more understeer might be needed. Yeah, there's a really good chance we might have to restart this again. So go for high and push. I think we can have enough time to get, or we'll have enough heat in the tires. Keep them in auto on. Let them handle the pushing on their own. I'm sure they'll have a good tactic for that. Oh, good start there. Judovish and Perez getting ahead of Carlson. Though we definitely will see Carlson zooming into the top line this early. We're the only ones on push and attack instead of overtake and high. Or attack and overtake, rather. Now Perez is having trouble keeping Gansler away. They're having a duel in the back there. Up on front, Funker is already down to 90% on his tires. Pushing a little too far. Surprisingly, not using the ERS on the exit gate out there. Probably conserving it for a bit more. Let's see. Can't tell if they have their batteries like the warm gap battery. And Gansler is also saving the battery for later, it looks like. What? Now we're having trouble getting our boys or girls up on the run there because of all the traffic here in the back. Surprisingly, they're not using any ERS. Well, Perez using her momentum to get past Gansler again, climbing up to 18 just before the start of lap 3. Gansler having none of that and trying to stay in close though. A lot of reserve batteries you can clearly see here. very risky proposition, all things considered. Remember, we're gonna be just sticking to inters. We'll switch to inters around lap 9, 10 maybe. Oh, we can. Hang on, 23, right? Hang on a second. It's gonna be 11, 12. If it's 11, 12, that's 22 and 20. No, 20. 23, 24 seems a. 13, 14 seems a bit closer to tactic, but that's gonna be a bit late. So I think we're going for 11, 12, and then we'll keep the tires steady up. Since Jodovic can handle her tires a bit better. Oh, Jodovic, speaking of, is climbing up the ranks. She's now in 15th. Stuck in the mid-pack here with Glidden keeping her from getting past her current spot. Perez is now in 19th and just a few milliseconds beyond Gansler. As expected, Carlson has jumped up several places and she's currently in 8th. Beyond is just a few steps ahead of her at 4th. Looks like that engine investment is paying dividends for Vexala right now. Ooh, yeah, Jurovic using her energy reserves to keep the Garuda and ZRT cars away from her as she now climbs up the ranks to 13th. Could be going into 12th, but that outside corner is going to be tough to maintain. And now we're starting to see the rain come in. Now Jurovic is at 12. Perez climbs up to 18, getting past Picerni. Jurovic now stuck in traffic again. Keep being kept up from the front line by De Silva Mello. Hornblatt drops to 9th. Carlson is now at 7th. Perez goes down again, but she goes past De Silva Mello, and she's up to 17th. Jodovic might have a bit of trouble keeping Elegard at bay here, especially on this next set of corners. And that's Chu going for an ERS push. Strubish going down to 11, thanks to Chu using your ERS. Let's wait until it's really, really wet. Come on, people. You can even see Lormore sticking it out here. Stop being scared of a little rain. Perez, wetter pro, having trouble in the rain here, though. It's kind of annoying. I expect her to do better. See, everybody else is still driving in the wets here. Probably switch out. Okay, maybe 11, 12 might be a little too early. I'm seeing some patterns here. How's Carlson? Carlson's still sticking it out in the rain, surprisingly. And now Jurovic is at 8th, just behind Carlson on the driveway. Two drivers are in inters, that's Elegard and De Silva Mello. Oof, Carlson climbing up to 5th now. Devorani Neto still driving it on. Everybody else up front still in dry tires, or rather slick tires. Perez can't take advantage of everybody else though, but she at least is in 10th. Carlson still in 4th. I'm seeing some pit lane changes there. Ramsey asking for a pit. Etienne and Lormore might be going in too, but I'm sticking to Carlson. Since she's the girl to beat right now. So keeping an eye out on her might be much better for our pit lane chances. I conserve the tires so that there's a bit more weight. Oh! Judovish will have to stick to this. Sticking to inters for now, and then we'll put the fuel lines up. Let's risk it with a fast one! What? The entry point for the pit lane is a bit further up. I didn't expect that to be a thing. How's Beyond looking? Beyond still seems to be dry. Now there's a 4-second gap between Drodovish and Perez. We might let Drodovish drive a bit more, then let Perez pit lane in for this one. Now, Beyond is the other one I'm worried about, because she is still driving, and she has a better chance of getting it on right now. Ooh, Elegard getting past Perez now. That's a pit change. That's a pit change. Okay, we're switching up. Let's see if... No, that's not stacked. That's going to be a stack. Let's keep Perez on the road for a bit longer. So, fuel options... 6? What do you mean 6? Condition parts. Perez is now in second, but she's definitely going to lose it as soon as she starts pitting. Ooh, Biana switched out to wets. Etienne, Gansler, and Biana have all switched to wets. Let's see if sticking to inters for now will do us better than we had to do in the previous runs. Perez is going to lose her second, as everybody else in inters will get ahead of her now. Includes Mazzoncini and Da Silva Melo. Perez drops down fifth as Lorimer gets ahead of her, and now she's approaching the pit lane for a change. See if Drudovish will do work here. Drudovish now up to 12th. Perez getting overtaken by the wet drivers. She's now down to 20th. Ugh, really bad exit speed there. I don't think there were any errors involved, so I think that's a good enough spot for now. A lot of fuel here, but I think they're going to be okay. Hang on. Judovic keeping the wet drivers at bay for now, but as soon as we start to go wet here, it's going to be a bit problematic to keep them away. Although since they're wet, they will switch out later towards the end of the race, since it's going to be a bit drier. So that's going to be a bit of a help keeping us on top. Ooh, How's going for an interchange, or going for wet rather. Judovic almost getting past Devorani Neto on that one, but the rain is... Ooh. Rain, not much of an issue for Judovic now, who's using her ERS to get some overtakes here. And she is now up to 9th, just before the home corners. She's climbing up the rank. She's now at 8th, just before the start, left 13 on her sheet. Perez still in 19th, but there's a good chance she'll be able to come back in. Where's Gansler is... Wait, why does this Firebird have points? Oh, because of Elegard, who's currently on top. Stop asking for tires. We're doing a strategy here. Judovic couldn't block Concliffe on that one. Now they got overtaken by ERS. She's up on 8th again, though. Should give her a good run up towards the end here. 10 laps remaining. Our tire is still pretty decent. Well, at least Jurdovic's is. Perez might be looking, or rather, it's Perez who's actually doing okay on tires for now. Jurdovic is already down to 77. Oh, that's Ganzer with her wet. Ganzer with his wets pushing ahead now. Who's up behind Jurdovic? Pacherny. Yeah, Ganzer slowly climbing up the ranks using his wet tires. There's Perez using her ERS to get past Glidden. Not much success on that part. Meanwhile, Jurdovic gets run over an inside overtake on Concliffe. And Concliffe's blocking both of the Ozu drivers as well. Now, Jurdovic is going for a push-up with the ERS, trying to get past Ganzer, who's really working it with the wet tires. But Ganzer is so far the only one on wets that's really up high. We still have a decent amount of tires here, so we can probably last until the end with just these. If we can do that, we can probably overtake those we're going to be switching to Inters later. Oh, that's Etienne now closing in on Jurdovic, closing the gap rather quickly. Perez still stuck in the back at 16th. Jurdovic will lose her 8th place spot on the exit of that turn, as Etienne seems to be much more skilled at her with wet work. Oh, that's beyond with the ERS overtake. Now that's 2 of them using their wet or rather their wet tires to their full advantage. Now it's 3 wet drivers in 6th, 7th, and 8th. Hornblatt is at 9th. We might have to work our way up against him too. Hornblatt doing excellent defensive work against Jurdovic here, just losing it on that set of chicanes near the concourse. And now we're starting to see the road dry up again. 7 laps to go. Let's see if the wetter drivers are now going to lose their advantage, since the wetness is going to dry up rather quickly. Ellegard really pushing it very hard up front. You might not be able to fight him. He's currently 24 seconds ahead of Jurdovic. Road's not getting dry fast enough. Ugh, that's not good. Six laps to go. Jurdovic still in a pretty hot spot here. Ooh, jumping up to 6th. Excellent. But now Firebird is still on top because Ganzer is still ahead of both of us. Ganzer and Ellegard, rather. We'll have to see if things change towards the end here. Perez is now up to 15th after overtaking the Silva Mello, who went for a pit change. Devorani Neto is also starting to slow down a bit. 50% on tires, we might be able to do this. But it's going to be quite the miracle to get up to Ellegard's position right now. Ganzer also getting... Ganzer slowing down now because of the changes in the weather. Now, we need to get past Ellegard at least. Perez jumps up to 11. She still needs to work. Carlson pushing ahead, still has a lot of tire wear on her. I don't think we're going to be able to overtake her since it's... Look at that gap. Wait, why is... Where is Gansler? Gansler is 6 now. 4 laps to go. Perez has climbed up to 10th, doing well so far. There's a good chance she might be able to get into the top 6 if she works her way through the next 4 laps. That way we can at least get some points ahead of Firebird, or some more points ahead of Firebird. At the end, Devrani Neto and Gansler have gone for a pit change. Two more drivers ahead, and Perez will be in the top 6. We'll be able to get some more points in there. Just a bit more. She's now at 7th. Although Hornblatt is 3 seconds ahead of her. So definitely a lot of work for Perez here. Three laps to go. Judovic still has a lot of work for herself. Damn it, Perez. Oh, there goes it. Perez jumping up to 6th with the Silva Mello or Hornblatt going for a pit change. We're now both on sheet, but that's going to give us only a small lead. And we won't be able to get into the top, into our sponsor objective, unless by some weird miracle, Ellegard is going to pit change. Carlson is still ahead of us, though. A really big gap at that. So that's going to be a bit risky. Alright, there's a chance here. Ellegard has now gone for a pit change, but we're now 10 seconds behind and there's only 2 laps to go. I don't think we're going to be able to break past Carlson at this rate. So we'll just have to... Going for a pit push here. Oh, somebody got blue flagged over there. Come on, Judovic, stick in 2nd at least. We're gonna use every bit of boosting we can to keep Ellegard away from us, even though there's not a lot of power right now. Now down to 8%. At least keep Perez in 5th. Come on, Judovic, just a bit more. Yes, 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 yes. We'll settle for 2nd. Better than nothing at this point. Whew. Well, at least Gansler is away from the top 6, so that's going to keep him away at that point as well. Close enough, close enough. Oh, what? And just in time, too, because I'm about to go. A bit of a struggle there towards the end, especially with the road getting drier, but at least we kept Gansler away from the score sheets. I can settle with Carlson being in there, but with Gansler not scoring a point today, we might be able to get bounce up. Unfortunately, though, Carlson will snatch her 2nd consecutive win, which won't be a helpful bit for our team standings, because if Vexhal starts climbing up, hang on. Yeah, I think switching to wets when it only the road wetness only peaks and then quickly drops is a bad idea. Thankfully, the weather crew actually helped us with that, so that kept us alive. Oh, Judovic snatches fastest lap bonus too. That's actually pretty nice. So that's gonna keep That's gonna keep Jurovic up there. Hopefully, that's gonna help her get some more marketing boosts up. Perez is also doing really well, climbing up 14 places to finish in 5th. Yeah, at least we kept Ellegard lower, but Carlson is now the main target. Nonetheless, Jurovic climbs back up to 1st, getting 2 points ahead of Ganser, though unfortunately because of Carlson climbing up as well, Perez is now down to 4th. Still helpful on the driver, or rather the team standings, because we're currently at 62, and now we increased our gap again to doubles by getting 13. Uh, so happy that Fabian Ramsey is a Dragon Race team. I guess this guy is a fan of the team instead of driver, because Dragon Race team is currently struggling this season. Hang on. Hang on. Let me just double check this again. We managed to round up a podium there. Another podium for Jurovic. That's going to make her a bit happy. And Perez would be glad with her current 5th place finish, I think. We came 2nd, a bit too close. There we go. Jurovic getting some more skill points up on her rolling. So is Leo Leonet. Will definitely be helpful for when she becomes a main driver once Perez starts retiring. Ugh. Her driving form was terrible today. Apparently, we didn't meet the sponsor objective, but we still got 299,000 euros apparently. So that's going to be helpful. Oh, hang on. Still pretty decent there, but Ganser being only 2 points behind us is a bit of a risky run. Let's see those news. Ellegard really did well in practice. Too bad he kind of got slapped up by changing tires and he had to switch out twice. Ugh. Hmm. Okay, what does Channel 6 want with us? What do you mean only managing to finish in 7th? Huh? Yeah, we still gain a lot of knowledge from the track. I don't know why they think we finished 7th, but 6 seconds slower than our season record, but better than nothing. Hang on. Alright, let's see what we got in the pit crew. Gotta be something workable here. Ooh, these guys are great. Stamina is awful though, but that's okay. Oh, he also has a mistake chance thing. Who do you want to? Well, Ono has good stamina, no inherent mistake chance based numbers, and he's also very good at fixing, so I think we want to keep him. The problem is his front check and tire management are awful, and he's not exactly up there for refueling. Everybody else seems to be okay. Maybe not. So, I don't think there's nobody I want to keep in the higher line here, but Watanabe might need to go. Even though he's got good stamina, he's not exactly well balanced. Okay. Carlson definitely will be happy about the result there. But we are equally happy about how we finished up here because we did manage to keep the enemies away from us and we got a good result out of it thanks to the weather crew, which I think we will see a lot more of in the near future. Once we get the staff center rolling up, we'll have improvements to the staff as well. Hopefully that's gonna reflect towards the rest of the race, or rather the rest of the season. But we'll have to put that on hold for now, as I am gonna have to call it in for the night. Thank you so much for dropping by. Sorry that was only one race, and we had to do 2 restarts just to get the right finish for that. And we didn't really get all of the good stuff out. We failed to meet our sponsor objective again. Nonetheless, we still managed to get a good feedback from a good result, mostly, since we managed to get into the podium at least. So that's going to be excellent for next time when we continue our drive up. Hopefully you'll be there again when we do that, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to be continuing this tomorrow, since we still have a lot of stuff we can do. Just keep an ear out on socials for what's going to happen in that case. Anywho, if you got any complaints or violent reactions about the stream tonight, I would really be grateful if you can drop me a line on my Twitter or my Pixib. If you got a hankering for older streams that have expired here on Twitch, you can always check the Simulstream channel. Yes, let's call it the Simulstream channel now, since I'm actually double streaming to YouTube. It's searchable under the same username. That's Lurk at Work, work with a U instead of an O. By the way, if you're currently checking the VOD, thanks for dropping by. Sorry that it was only a one-stop, or rather a single leg of a race. Maybe next time things will get a bit better and we'll be able to actually get better results again, even though we're currently handicapped by the fact that we can't invest in epic engines just yet. Hopefully by then you'll be able to catch a live stream, but if not, you're always welcome to just drop by and check the VODs. There's a lot of them on channels that might interest you too. Speaking of the channel, if you got a friend who might be interested in the stuff I stream, or who just wants to complain about PNG streamers in general, I would really be helpful if you can share. It will really be helpful if you can share my channel with them, twitch.tv/lurkatwork, and also Lurk at Work on YouTube. Well, that's all from me for now. Lurk at Work is now RTB. If you're still in the mood for some relaxing streaming tonight, I can send you over to somebody who's currently doing home sushi? Yeah, that's definitely sushi. But if you're not and you're heading out for the night, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Good night for those who are heading out, and stand by for those who are about to be sent over.